Some time ago when people used to die, some people's souls used to wander, but nowadays the soul itself has died, so many people are wandering. This sentence itself contains a very deep and thoughtful meaning. To understand this, we first have to consider what is meant by soul, and also how the thinking and belief about the soul has changed in society. When we say that the soul used to wander, it meant that after death a person's soul used to wander outside the body due to some unfulfilled desire or unfinished work. But in today's world, when we say that the soul itself has died, it somewhere reflects the lack of belief in the existence of the soul in society and a more materialistic approach, due to which today's people are wandering in search of existence. Traditional view of the soul in ancient times, people had a deep spiritual understanding about life and death. The soul had a very important place in Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity and other religious traditions. The soul was considered eternal and immortal, which remained in life even after the death of the body. It was believed that when the body dies, the soul survives in some form and goes to the next life or place. Hinduism in particular has the concept of reincarnation, while Islam and Christianity have the concept of heaven and hell. All these religious ideas had clear guidelines about the existence of the soul and its journey. The wandering of the soul after death or coming back to this world due to some unfinished work was a common belief. People believed that if a person's death was untimely or unfortunate, his soul could wander in search of peace. This was the reason why the relatives of the deceased used to perform puja for them, so that their soul could get peace and move towards the next life. This was the reason why people had a lot of faith and fear about the world after death, and the wandering of the soul was seen as a real phenomenon. Influence of modernity and science with time, especially in the 19th and 20th centuries, when science and logic dominated, these traditional beliefs started being challenged. Modern science adopted a physical and biological view of death and life. No concrete evidence could be found from the scientific point of view about life after death, and this was the reason why people started doubting the existence of the soul. Now people consider the biological activities of the body as the biggest proof of life, and when the body dies, they see it only as a biological event. The concept of the existence of the soul has now become limited to a cultural and religious belief, and most people have started considering it as an imaginary idea. The concept of the wandering of the soul has almost disappeared from today's society. Now very few people think about the wandering or traveling of a soul after death. The main reason for this change is that now people have started thinking from a more scientific point of view, and see the soul not as a physical and mental phenomenon, but as a psychological belief. This has also given rise to the belief that the soul does not exist, and after death the human being is completely destroyed. Death of the soul. a new thought. When we say that the soul itself is dead, it means that now people do not believe at all about the travel, peace or wandering of a soul after life. In today's modern world, the existence of the soul has remained only as a hypothesis or belief, and it is limited only to religious ideology or personal beliefs. The scientific outlook has changed the way we think about death and life, and we now view the afterlife as an unknown and undefined state. When we deny the existence of the soul, it means that we are also rejecting the possibility of a journey to the afterlife. From a spiritual perspective, this change is a major crisis not only for religious beliefs, but for humanity as a whole. Is there a purpose to our lives when the soul does not exist? Do we only exist physically, and everything ends after death? This question confuses many people in today's society, and this is why many people feel adrift. They are not sure about their existence and the purpose of life, and this mental state prevents them from achieving satisfaction in life. Societal disorientation. People today feel adrift in many ways. This disorientation is mainly due to the search for existence and uncertainty about the purpose of life. When the concepts of the soul and the afterlife have no clear meaning, people struggle to give their lives a purposeful direction. Man's inner world is now reduced to materialism, sensuality, and realistic thinking, and this has deprived him of mental and spiritual peace. Spirituality has now disappeared from most people's lives, and when a person encounters difficulties in life, he often faces disorientation. The absence of the ideology of the existence of the soul and disorientation do not lead people to a deeper understanding and satisfaction of life, but only pushes them towards materialism and mental dissatisfaction. Conclusion: the disappearance of the concepts of the existence of the soul and wandering in society today is a sign of a deep crisis. When the soul does not exist, the purpose of life and the journey after death become an unknown and irrelevant concept. The result is that people are confused about their existence and do not know the real meaning of life. In this situation, many people feel lost because their faith and purpose are lost somewhere. The need for the existence of the soul and its guidance is felt now more than ever so that we can find